Let us now start with the interaction of gamma rays and X-rays with the matter. So, the gamma rays are the electromagnetic radiation. They are emitted from the nucleus or an annihilation reaction between matter and an antimatter. So, normally we have seen that the gamma rays are emitted from nucleus. The X-rays are the electromagnetic radiations emitted by charged particles, usually the electrons, in changing atomic energy levels or in slowing down in a Coulomb force field. So the X-rays and gamma rays have similar properties. The difference is in their origin. The two used to be distinguishable by energy of the particle, but now linear accelerators are able to produce high energy X-rays that have the same or higher energy as gamma rays. So X-rays can be made similar to the gamma rays. The practical range of photon energies emitted by the radioactive atoms extends from a few thousands up to over 7 MeV. So, the emitted range energies can be also varied to a large extent. On the other hand, the linear accelerators are able to produce more energetic photons. So, X-rays and gamma rays can be produced with more energies and they can be made to interact with the matter. So, ionizing radiations also takes place in the form of electromagnetic rays. When emitted by the excited atoms, they are given the name of X-rays and they have quantum energies typically measured from 1 to 100 keV. When emitted by excited nuclei, they are called as gamma rays and the characteristic energies can be as high as several MeV. In both cases, the radiation takes the form of photons of electromagnetic energy. Since the photon is uncharged, it does not interact through the Coulomb force and therefore can pass through large distances in matter without significant interaction. So, the gamma rays and X-rays can be produced with large energy and they are made to interact with matter. And when they interact, they produce the photons. The average distance between the interactions is called the mean free path and it varies from few millimeters of low energy X-rays through tens and centimeters of high energy gamma rays. When an interaction occurs, however, it is catastrophic in that sense that a single interaction can profoundly affect the energy and the direction of the photon or it can make it disappear entirely. In such an interaction, all or parts of the photon energy is transferred to one or more electrons in the observer materials. Because the secondary electrons thus produced are energetic and charged, they interact in much the same way as described earlier for primary fast electrons. So, when the fast electrons come and collide, they produce the secondary electrons. The secondary electrons also they have higher energies and they are also charged. The fact that an original X-ray or gamma ray was present is indicated by the appearance of secondary electrons, by the creation of secondary electrons. Information on the energy carried by the incident photon can be inferred by measuring the energy of these electrons. So, next is the interaction of photons, that is the light energies which are created with matter. When gamma rays and X-rays collide, they produce the photons. So, the photons, they will interact with the material by causing three actions. One is the photoelectric absorption, another one is the Compton scattering, and the third one is the pair production. So, photoelectric absorption is when light is falling on any material, absorption will happen, thus by increasing the kinetic energy. Compton interaction is you will be having the photon which is coming and colliding and it will create a scattered photon and the electron. So pair production is also the production of two similar materials is called as pair production. So let us see how these three are formed. So here photon interact with the matter. Through this we create three effects. One is the photoelectric effect, Compton scattering and the pair production, which also creates the high speed electrons. The high speed electrons then interact with the matter and they create either ionization, excitation or they form heat. In ionization, we will be having the X-rays or the chemical effects, and the side effects may cause to biological effects. So photoelectric absorption is the incident X-ray or gamma ray photon interacts with an atom of the absorbing material and the photon completely disappears. It is absorbed by the material. Its energy is transferred to one of the orbital electrons of the atom. So you know all the atoms will be having orbital electrons and these orbital electrons are ready to accept the photons. So they will be attracting or absorbing the photon thus by increasing their energy. Because of this energy far exceeds the binding energy of the electron will be moved away. This kinetic energy of the secondary electron, which is equal to the incoming energy of the photon minus the binding energy of the electron in the original atomic shell. So this electron, which is created by absorbing the light photon, is called as the secondary electron. This secondary electron will be having the energy of the difference between these two, the energy which is coming and the binding energy of the electron. The process leaves the atom with a vacancy in one of the normally filled electron shells, which is then refilled after a short period of time by a nearby free electron. So this filling process again liberates the binding energy in the form of a characteristic X-ray photon. So this process will be happening. The photon which is coming out will make one electron to move, which is filled by another free electron. So the rejoining of the free electron will create another light energy. So this process will be repeated. So this process is named as the photoelectric absorption. So this filling process again liberates the binding energy in the form of a characteristic X-ray photon, which then typically interacts with the electron, then producing additional fast electrons. So the secondary electrons will be created again and again, and the photon recombination will be also happening. This is a repeated process. The photoelectric absorption. The overall effect is therefore complete conversion of the photon energy into the electron energy by fast electrons. Since the fast electrons are now detected through their Coulomb interaction, they can serve as the basis to indicate the presence of original gamma or X-ray photon, and a measurement of their energy is the tan amount to measuring the energy of the incoming photon. So the energy of the incoming photon can be measured. Because the photoelectric process results in complete conversion of the photon energy into electron energy, it is in some sense an ideal conversion step. The task of measuring the gamma ray energy is then reduced to simply measuring the equivalent energy deposited by the fast electrons. Unfortunately, the other two types of gamma ray interactions also takes place that complicate this interpretation step. So you cannot define that particularly one is going on. You can have any reaction which is happening when a gamma ray or a X-ray photon is coming and colliding with a material. So this is how the photoelectric absorption happens. You will be having the energy which is coming in, which is E0. It will be absorbed by an electron at E1, and then this electron will be made to move out. Okay. So this is called as the photoelectric effect. So Compton scattering is one type of production of electrons. Okay. An incoming gamma ray photon can interact with a single free electron in the observer through the process of Compton scattering. In this process, the photon changes the direction and transfers a portion of its original energy to the electron from which it is scattered, producing an energetic recoil electron. The fraction of the photon energy that is transferred depends on the scattering angle. When the incoming photon is deflected only slightly, little energy is transferred to the electron. So you will be having an recoil electron which is produced, and the photon will be also scattered, and that is called as the Compton. So the maximum energy transfer occurs when the incoming photon is backscattered from the electron and its original direction is reversed. Since in general all angles of scattering will occur, the recoil electrons are produced with a continuum of energies ranging from near zero to a maximum represented by the backscattering extreme. The maximum energy can be predicted from the conservation of momentum and the energy in the photon-electron interaction, and is about 0.25 MeV below the incoming photon energy for high energy gamma rays. After the interaction, the scattered photon has an energy that has decreased by an amount equal to the energy transferred by the recoil electrons. It may subsequently interact again at the some other locations or simply escape from the detector. So you will be having an electron, a recoil electron, and the photon which is coming out because of Compton scattering, and you will be having an n number of energy variations because the scattering occurs at all angles, and the energy of the recoil electron will depend on the scattering angle. So this is the Compton scattering. Here energy E0 is coming in and falling on an electron. You will be having the recoil electron E2 and the energy E0 which is coming out as E3. So there will be two processes which is happening. One is the photon will be coming out, and there will be a recoiling electron which is moved away from the orbital, and this is called as Compton scattering. Next process is the pair production. The pair production is creation of subatomic particles and its antiparticle from a neutral boson. Examples are creating an electron and a positron, a muon and an antimuon, or a proton and an antiproton. So it often refers to a photon creating an electron, a positron pair near the nucleus. So a photon which is coming and falling on the nucleus, which creates an electron and a positron pair, and so only it is named as pair production. So here in the diagram you can see electron with a minus C and positron of plus C are created from the nucleus by the incident photon of energy h nu. So a third gamma ray interaction process is possible when the incoming photon energy is above 1.02 MeV. In the field of a nucleus of the observer material, the photon may disappear and may be replaced by the formation of an electron-positron pair. So the minimum energy which is required to create this pair of particles is the combined rest mass energy, which is 1.02 MeV. Therefore, the pair production cannot occur if the energy is below 1.02 MeV. When the photon energy exceeds this value, the excess energy appears as initial kinetic energy shared by the positron and the electron that are formed. It slows down and deposits in energy over an average distance that is nearly the same as that for a negative electron of equivalent energy. Therefore, you will be having the positron which is positively charged and an electron which is negatively charged with the same mass. And these particles transfer their kinetic energy over a distance of no more than a few millimeters in certain solids. So this is how the pair production happens. So photon comes and interacts with the material and you will be having the matter and antimatter. Okay. So photon and you will be having a minus one photon. So that is the annihilation process, and pair production process is one is positive and another one is negative. So this is the joining of this positive and negative is called as the annihilation process. So this is how the pair is produced, and these pairs combine together also again. And that combination process and the pair production process happens throughout when the light photons are traveling through the material. So the pair production, the magnitude of the deposited energy is given by the original photon energy minus 1.02 MeV. Because 1.02 MeV is the minimum energy which is required. When the positron member of the pair reaches the end of its track, it combines with a normal negative electron, and this process is called as annihilation. In the previous slide also we saw what is annihilation. In this step, both the particles, that is the matter and the antimatter, are the electron and the positron. They combine together and disappear, and they are replaced by two photons, which will be of energy 0.511 MeV. Annihilation photons are similar to gamma rays in their ability to penetrate large distances of matter without interacting. So they will be passing through the large distances of matter. They may undergo again Compton scattering or photoelectric interactions elsewhere, or may escape from the detectors of small size. So the pairs will be produced and they will also join together, and that process is called as the annihilation process, and again photons will be produced. So this process will be repeated throughout. These photons may cause Compton scattering or the photoelectric interactions. So these three are related process when the photon interacts with any matter.